Okay, I think we're back. Let's go ahead and update this on Facebook so everyone on Facebook can see us. And we're going to give the opening pillar of light, pillar of the world again. If in case you missed that, in case we lost the broadcast, we'll go ahead and give this meditation again. It deserves repeating. We're establishing a momentum of these new concepts, this new idea of who I really am. And it sounds silly to the world. It sounds silly to our normal consciousness. But it actually is what everyone has always instructed us to do if we are to attain to a heightened state of awareness and enlightenment. And including Jesus, including Buddha, including Muhammad, all of these great sages who have walked before us have always instructed this same type of meditation. And so here we are doing this pillar of light, pillar of the world, and we're doing it in such a way as that we're coating ourselves in light and everything that we do. And these momentums, even though they seem sort of corny and simple, are really powerful, and they really do protect us from many experiences. Great yogis have chastised us to give these meditations, and by doing so, we will save ourselves from great harm and suffering. And the reason for that is we're more and more identifying with that neutral witness, that consciousness of joy and peace and oneness rather than of duality. And we'll go into that in a little bit. So let's go ahead and open Pillar of Light, Pillar of the World on page 37 of Samadhi Game, a free download at samadhigame.com. Open it up in your downloaded, open it up in your PDF viewer, and you can follow along with us. Again, on page 37 of Samadhi Game. Together, all over the world together, sublime I am, Samadhi that I am, enfolding me now in that mighty, magic, electronic pillar of cosmic light substance. My identification with its magnificent humility and thoughtful creativity, so powerful and complete, that I artfully and magically alter every polarity with healing unity. Within this majestic pillar of light blazes that love as the violet compassionate flame. In, there, and around my etheric, mental, emotional, and physical bodies, effortlessly dissolving, consuming, transmuting, and reconciling the dualities of my human ego, charging my world and all I contact with the living awareness, fragrant substance and conscious activity of the Ascended Master's presence and superconscious Samadhi. Seeing, feeling, and hearing this light as it shines, radiates, and resonates within me is a visible pillar of the world, stabilized, supported, and sustained by the brilliant, elegant one, and infinitely sensitive to that invulnerable state of divine I am Samadhi. Let's go ahead and go to heartfelt, tangible Samadhi on page 39, getting ready for this. In Samadhi Game, we have these 4 sections: divine identity, shadow work, transmutation, joy, divine alchemy, and the last section is the precipitation via the Emerald Ray Tantra. Precipitation, abundance, healing. And I like to take one section every day and focus on it. Today I'm going to try to focus on the shadow work. But before we get to the shadow work, I want to do a few more meditations on divine identity, just to give us that touchstone of our reality before we go into the dual world of the shadow. Let's go ahead and give this meditation together, heartfelt, tangible Samadhi. And the reason that this meditation is named that is that our Samadhi is heartfelt and tangible. It's not something otherworldly. It's right here and now. It is in this moment that we can contact and have Samadhi. We can actually live Samadhi. And oftentimes in our spiritual paths, we think that samadhi is something that's far off and away and something very far off to be attained to. In some ways it is, but it's not far off in any distance. It's right here with us right now. And it can be felt right here, right now, rather than putting it off to some other day and thinking that it's going to come at a special moment. It's now. So let's go ahead and give this meditation and feel this samadhi percolating through us, even now as we speak the words. Not necessary to just silent in the samadhi, but we can speak the words and feel the samadhi at the same time. It's actually another type of discipline that we're doing, and it's a very important one that is taught in all the great paths. All the great sages have taught this as well. So let's go ahead on page 39, Heartfelt Tangible Samadhi. O great spirit, O mighty I am Samadhi at the center of all creation, radiant with illuminating fire, O heartfelt parent of all sons and sons, pour forth that life-giving power and fan the spark of that divinity on the altar of my heart. Amplify and magnify this spark by the fire breath of the whole I spirit, into the potent God flame that I am. O the shimmering fountain of life that I see, hear, smell, taste, and feel within me. I choose this constant cascade of liquid light, actively receiving its shimmering, directive radiance, tangibly and powerfully manifest in my experience. I open the innermost temple of love with this evident, celestial cosmic fire. I manifest that life and light for our healing and regeneration, letting the breath, height, fullness, and crown of the solar radiance of a sun behind the sun appear. I stand forth. Revealed in and through me is the neutral witness, that Christos, Krishna, Buddha, Allah, Divine Mother, Father, Presence. I am the visible, audible, and tangible flame of eternal life, breathing the scintillating prana chi from the source to the root of my being, liquid rays of light flooding my chakras, seated upon their lotus thrones of love, molten gold of enlightenment, shivering its ascension up my spine, crowning my awareness with the diamond rays of attainment. As the white fire beam of my heart, I emanate and transmit this tangible, dynamic, creative, and directive substance of living samadhi. I am a sun in the palace of the shining void. This temple, a glistening world of infinite space, the process of my transformations, sounding the melodies, harmonies, and rhythms of the great solar symphony. I am the dazzling flame of life, here and now, because I am nowhere else, but everywhere, forever. I am Samadhi's palpable joy, tactile glory, and felt perfection of boundless being. I am that. I am that. I am that. I am. And here is an open space in the document, in Samadhi Game, where you can pronounce your ascended, your liberated, your fantastic name. And it can be just your name if you want it to be. Or it can be something really phenomenal. So I'm going to say one for me, and you can say it for yourself if you'd like to join along. I am the Ascended Master Gregory Donald Binkley Super Yogi Brilliance. I am the Ascended Master Gregory Donald Binkley Krishna Super Yogi Brilliance. I am the Ascended Master Gregory Donald Binkley Krishna Super Yogi Brilliance. In embodiment, in embodiment, in embodiment. I am oneness lived. It's one thing to sit in silence and to feel the truth of these affirmations pouring through you. And it's another to actually say them. And when you meld the two of those together, feeling the truths of where these words come from and saying them, establishing an outer touchstone of reality, then it's even more powerful. It has more effect. It happens faster. For so long, we've really put most of our our effort into our effort into meditation, our time into meditation, silent meditation, as a means to enlightenment. And it's wonderful and it's valuable. But there is this need to actualize what we find in that state, in those refined states. Otherwise, it flies away from us, just as ethers, diaphanous ethers, evaporate in the day, the sun, in the warmth of day. So these words help us to remember here and now in the physical, and that sets a platform in this physical octave, not just the refined etheric octave when we go into that deep silent meditation, but in this physical octave, setting that matrix, that touchstone here that keeps reminding us of this inner truth, even as we go about our daily life, because it's been etched into the subconscious. These truths are now valuable touchstones in our subconscious and are radiating their light throughout the day in our lives, whether we be doctors, nurses, therapists, carpenters, whatever it is that we do. This keeps radiating through and informing us with its happiness and its source of joy. Let's go to this momentum. Samadhi's I am memory and momentum, the golden river of sustained enlightenment and divine direction, on page 46. So you can join me again by downloading Samadhi Game at samadhigame.com. It's a free download, and you can open that document in your PDF viewer. If you have an iPhone, an iPad, or an iPod Touch, you can also download the EPUB version, which is interactive, and you can put it on those devices, on your mobile devices, and you can take it with you wherever you go and use it. And as you develop a momentum with these words and a momentum of infusing these words with life, light, and love, then it becomes more and more tangible in your life. So I encourage you to download both copies, get it on your mobile devices, and take it with you, and wherever you are, on tops of mountains, on the beaches of Italy, or of Biarritz in France, wherever, reading it. And I'll go back a little bit here. In this last meditation, we brought up the ideas of Christos, Krishna, Buddha, and I said Allah. Samadhi Game is intended to be a meditation that is meditation on oneness, a meditation on the unity of all religions, the unity of all ways, all paths. And it's intended to be customizable by you. If you download it as a PDF, you'll be able to copy the entire PDF into a word processing document and then begin to make changes as you see fit in your own document, so that your meditation can reflect your attainment, your perceptions, and your realizations. That way it becomes an active process, a Samadhi Game diary, if you will, that you can read aloud, and as you read it aloud, the affirmation takes place again, the meditation happens again. And it's the momentum of building that meditation over and over again that begins to free up your consciousness from this world of the dual human ego and allows you to function from the eyes of eternity, right here, right now. So let's go again now to Samadhi's I am memory and momentum, the golden river of sustained enlightenment and divine direction, page 46. Together. From billowing clouds in the spotless sky of the tangible I am, Samadhi, that I am, comes now a downpour of the memory and momentum of the golden river of sustained enlightenment and divine direction, a drenching of mastery and dominion here and now, rivulets of wise thinking, lovely feeling, and powerful activity. Converging is the eternal sweep of the sacred Ganga, the memory and momentum of love, wisdom, and power, flooding forth like a million Niagara Falls, ceaselessly descending into and around all my thoughts, feelings, and activities, including, and here you can actually think of or say in the privacy of your home, those activities that you have planned for today, or for the week, or for the month, year, or even for your lifetime. And by doing so, you're establishing the idea of it within the matrix of this samadhi meditation, so that we're coating the ideas of your intentions. We're coding the intentions that you're holding for your day's work in samadhi, in this divine afflatus of bliss. So you can say that now, and then we'll continue on. To harmonize and perfect them now, as Christos, as Krishna, as Buddha, as Allah, as the Divine Mother, Father, as the neutral witness, I enter this golden river of sustained enlightenment and divine direction, here and now, bathing in this streaming memory and momentum of love, life, and light. I take command of all thoughts, feelings, and actions below the highlands of superconscious living and awareness. Lo, I am become the sea of mirth itself. O loving I am samadhi that I am. O Ganesha, O great divine director, and the great karmic board, that I am. I invoke your memory and momentum of sustained enlightenment and divine direction. I am that guidance now. I am that courage and strength that acts. And in my attention to my... And here, in this part of the meditation, you'll see there's a section for men and a section for women. And men can say their words and women can say their words as we now continue. Purpose, plan, focus, freedom, dharma, and death. I hold the scepter of dominion and my scepter of dominion and power sustained. From the joyous I am, samadhi that I am, I descend in the whirlwind radiance of this Christos, Krishna, Buddha, Allah, Divine Mother, Father presence. I envelop my four lower bodies with the unbroken thrill of that neutral witness and unique sexual essence, and I stand guard over my entire consciousness, being and world, 24/7. O eternal I am samadhi, beyond all imagination of expectancy. I charge my physical, emotional, mental, and etheric bodies with that memory and momentum of full conscious realization as I issue the following command to all the polarized human creation and ego etched in my pranas, chakras, and meridians, and those of the entire planetary body. I just had forgotten that I had not put up the chat. I'm putting that up now as we get ready to continue. Dissolve, consume, transmute, and reconcile by the radiant, vital light. Dissolve, consume, transmute, and reconcile by the radiant, vital light. Dissolve, consume, transmute, and reconcile by the radiant, vital light. I let the instantaneous release of this self-luminous, infinitely intelligent light substance issue forth without limit from the immortal samadhi that I remember I am. And I charge these pranas, chakras, and meridians, thoughts and feelings, activities and environment with the victorious memory and momentum of the golden river of sustained enlightenment and divine direction, such that all polarized human creation and ego is instantly transmuted and transfigured into refined and perfected states of awareness, action, and physicality. I'm just going to welcome you to the chat. Here. I'll get better at this as the broadcasts go on. So, and this one here is download Samadhi Game. There you go. So, because we're doing a mantra meditation, we're saying a lot of words. But when you're doing this alone in the silence of your own home, you can do a meditation. And one of the slices of samadhi within Samadhi Game, one meditation, and you can stop, and you can feel, and you can remember, and you can ask, how do I feel this? You can ask, you can inquire inside of yourselves where these feelings come from, where these thoughts come from. You can ask for clarification, and it will be shown in your own private silent meditation. So I encourage you in your personal use of Samadhi Game to experiment with great dynamic invocation as well as subtle silence, mixing the two. Some people have likened the giving of mantra to setting a banquet table. I like that very much. I think what happens when we're doing this Samadhi Game, when we're doing the mantra of it, we're actually setting the stage, we're setting the table, we're putting out all the delicious food, we're putting out all the candles and flowers and placemats and finest silverware and most gorgeous china that we have. And when we sit in the silence, we're feasting on it. Really giving ourselves the opportunity to soak it in, to absorb it, to eat it. These sound sort of like funny analogies, but they're true. We're literally eating the samadhi. We're eating this mana, they say, this divine food, this prasadam. And we just sit and eat and absorb. And it strengthens us in many ways. It actually has physical effect, because what we're doing is we're tuning into that relaxation, that beauty, that bliss, and allowing it to run through our veins, run through our bloodstream, all of our organs and body parts. So very important, and it's been proven in medical visualization that this really is more potent than even pharmaceutical drugs. Let's go on to Hungry Ghost, Headless Shadow. This is the section of Samadhi Game that involves processing the dual human ego. And the main process I like to share with people is Enlightenment with squares. Yesterday we took up the Enlightenment with squares briefly at the end of the meditation on divine identity. Today we'll take up Enlightenment with squares a little bit more in depth. And yesterday we dealt with a duality, and the way we found it was by finding what was up for us in particular. And I went through a few things that many people have up for them. It can be things in relationship, it can be things in finances, it can be things in health. And when you find something that is up for you in one of these areas of life, or in any of your political, social areas of life, whatever, then you identify it. And normally we're so identified with it that we don't see its opposite. We don't stop to say, well, there is an opposite to this. And we don't realize that as much as we're identified with one half of any duality, we're going to have to experience the other half of that duality. And so by becoming aware of being identified with one half of a duality, we actually loosen the grip of that identification and re-identify more with the neutral witness, or the middle ground between that and its opposite. And the first step of that re-identification is to identify the opposite of whatever it is that we're identifying with in the present. So if it happens to be, yesterday we dealt with betrayal and trust. That's a great one, and we could do it over and over again because it's so ubiquitous across the face of the planet that these two poles of duality are being played out quite often. And we could also go into, and I think I'd like to go into rebellion on one side, and rebellion and cooperation. So if you find you're dealing a lot with rebellion, then you just look, well, what's the opposite of rebellion? And you come to this, you say, well, there could be many different things you could say. But one of the things that you could say is cooperation. Instead of being rebellious and opposed to everything that is done, you could cooperate with everything that's done. And so now you have two poles of a duality, rebellion and cooperation, but they're on opposite ends of a pole. So we have to find the reconciliation of the two. What would embrace rebellion and cooperation? What quality? What could you say? What quality of consciousness could embrace all of that? Let me see if I can think of something for us. If you have an answer, you can also chat it on the chat, and we'll have it there as well. Rebellion and cooperation. How about respect? So we could say respect is in the middle, because there's a certain, and then the way that you actually break down these two poles of duality is to realize that on either end of the pole of duality of rebellion and cooperation, you're both attracted to the rebellion and repelled from rebellion. You're attracted to cooperation and repelled from cooperation. There's payoffs on each side of this pole of duality for us, which is why we keep spinning back and forth, this wheel of karma, this wheel of re-embodiment. So if we take rebellion and divide it into what attracts us and what repels us, we can say, what is the desire for rebellion and what is the fear of rebellion? The desire would be that which attracts us. The fear would be that which repels us. Same for cooperation, the desire for cooperation and the fear of cooperation. So now we have enlightenment with squares. A piece of paper, 2 lines across it, 4 squares. Desire for cooperation, fear of cooperation. Desire for rebellion, fear of rebellion. And then you can go through each of these topics and you can flush out what it is that you desire about rebellion. Why would you want rebellion? What would be good about that? Well, it helps me to stand my ground. It makes me feel like I'm an individual. You can go on with things like that. And you can flesh that out really deeply. Be ruthlessly honest about it. What do I fear about rebellion? What could alienate me from people and things like that? Same thing with cooperation. What do I desire for cooperation? Well, it would connect me with people. It would help me to serve. And then you could say, well, what do I fear about cooperation? Well, maybe I'll be taken advantage of. Maybe I'll get lost in the crowd, and so on and so forth. So you could do rebellion and cooperation. And then respect is that quality of samadhi that is the balancing quotient for both sides. So we have those 3 terms: cooperation, rebellion, and respect. And throughout this next section of Samadhi Game, we'll be using those 3 terms, cooperation, rebellion, and respect, to fill in these open spaces in Samadhi, to ensconce this idea of duality within the matrix of Samadhi Game. And by doing so, we'll be invoking the reconciliation and transmuting these fears and desires so that we're living more from our oneness rather than from our two-ness. Okay, let's go ahead and do this meditation, enlightenment with squares, using cooperation, rebellion, and respect. Oh, present, and this is on page 52 of Samadhi Game, which if you were just joining us, you can download at samadhigame.com. It's a free download. I highly recommend you download it and open it up on your PDF viewer. And here we go, page 52, Enlightenment with Squares. O presence of a shining void, eternity, Himalaya, and mighty victory, that I am. Take from me all these states of mind, emotion, and outer experience, manifesting as every possible pattern of dual human ego consciousness, including the desire for and the fear of rebellion and cooperation. And then we'll go down the page. This is in Samadhi Game. You'll see that there are instructions there for all that I've explained. Clear and reconcile all the varied frequencies of fear and desire, making up this specific pattern of dual human ego consciousness, finding that balance and ascended quality of perfect samadhi, including respect, that I may see more clearly and find my way home more easily. In great gratitude I give thanks, knowing that it is done. Transmute and bring forth out of every dual human ego condition in my experience that miracle, joy, mastery, victory, and respect. I claim that samadhi of conscious balance, awareness, attainment, perfection, and respect as the only governing presence in my mind, my body, my feeling world, and every particle of my spiritual, sexual, social, recreational, romantic, personal, family, dietary, health, medical, career, financial, business, political, and legal affairs, and the affairs of every person seeking enlightenment throughout America and the world. No matter what my outer circumstance, this perfect state of samadhi is my respect, and there is my attention, my allegiance. As the joyous I am samadhi of respect, I hold all these conditions of dual human ego consciousness, including the fears and the desires of rebellion and cooperation, purified, beautified, reconciled, and free from the wheel of karma, that the full glory of respect may pour forth and bless all mankind with whom I come in contact, especially, and here you may name your loved ones and even your enemies. Seeing them coated in this respect, seeing the pole of rebellion and cooperation within them reconciled as respect. As the neutral witness that I am, I awaken to, take responsibility for, recognize dispassionately, and enjoy all phases of the wheel of karma within the world of my immediate self and its reflection in others. You might have begun to see that in the giving of these mantras are the ideas and concepts that are now becoming the lingua franca of enlightenment. You'll see that the idea of oneness, the ideas of the reflection principle of the other are being used here in order to raise our consciousness, raise our awareness. And we're using it in the form of mantra yoga. And we're using it in a form of mantra yoga in a way that allows us to say the very principles, saying the principles as affirmations of our beings. So this is a very unique way of culturing ourselves for enlightenment. It's setting the table for every other moment of our days, not even every moment of our days. That these patterns of enlightenment that we're speaking can come forth. In Samadhi Game, I have different names put into Samadhi Game in golden print. In those names, the golden print, it's meant that those names are variable. They're in golden because we have to have something to read together. And these are pretty well-recognized names but that I've put there. And most of us can read them without any problem. But each of us has our own unique way of specifying divinity. It could be Christ, it could be Krishna, it could be Allah. And so any of these different, in these ways, when you see gold, know that this, when you're using Samadhi game alone, you're welcome to insert any name of divinity, any cosmic being, a god or a goddess that inspires you, even the name of a next door neighbor, for goodness sakes. Because we're drawing upon the inspiration. We're drawing upon that. We're actually invoking the oneness with that being. So I am he. I am that one. I have the qualities of that one. I live with the qualities of that one ensconced around me. That's our affirmation when we speak about these different beings. And by speaking about different beings, we're actually invoking their assistance, their memory, their protection. And when we deal with shadow is pretty slippery stuff. And when we deal with shadow, it's good to have some protection. And so we can protect ourselves by invoking the wisdom and the presence and the memory of those that have gone before us, that have been known to be able to work with shadow, who have overcome shadow, who have reconciled all shadows in their worlds. So I just want you to be aware that these sections of Samadhi game are for you to insert whoever it is that inspires you. So let's go on. Let's go ahead and do this meditation, this identification with Archangel Michael. And this is on page 56, and it's called As Archangel Michael. It's our identification as him or her, Archei Faith. Together, as Archangel Michael and Archei Faith, and the all-powerful mighty I am Samadhi that I am. I am the active power and supreme authority of Samadhi in my world. I am the context, the Samadhi that is decisive. I release the blue lightning of 10,000 suns right now. I sweep into all astral and psychic opposition and human conditions of duality in my world, including the fear and the desire of rebellion and cooperation. And I dissolve, consume, transmute, and reconcile them right now in respect. I take command of all appearances of imperfection and unreality in my world. I blaze the full power of Samadhi of rainbow lightning into and around all seeming obstacles and opposition to the instantaneous manifestation of each and every inner and outer intention, meditation, prayer, rosary, puja, bhajan, mantra, fiat, and affirmation I shall make today in absolute truth, the Dharma. You just heard my doorbell ring. Just hold on for a moment. I'm going to see who it is. It might be someone joining us for a Samadhi game. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Okay? Yeah, it's been great. Thanks. Yeah. Bye. I just wanted to show everyone what came. This is Christmas already arriving at my doorstep from my mother. And I wanted to show you these boxes. These are the most beautiful boxes. She put stickers all over them, angels and Santa Clauses and snowmen and candy canes and Christmas candles and gingerbread men and stockings. These are the men who deliver these love these packages. By the way, this Sunday night in Tijeras, New Mexico, we are having our Thanksgiving celebrity dress-up Samadhi game meditation and a fortune dinner, pot fortune dinner. So for those of you who live nearby here in New Mexico, we're welcoming you and inviting you to join us. We're kicking off the holiday season and hoping that everyone will come and join us. And I'm not sure that we're going to be broadcasting the event that night. So this is something for our local meditators and processors. Samadhi gamers. But please come and join us if you can, and be a part of the kickoff of the holiday season. And thank you, Mom, if you're out there watching. Thank you so much. I appreciate your packages. We're gonna leave everything in the boxes because the boxes are so pretty until Christmas, or until a little bit before Christmas. Then we'll open them up, put them under the tree, and then open them at Christmas Day. So you see how processing the shadow has its immediate effects. It clears the way for gifts to manifest. And so as soon as we started in with this clearing the shadow, then the doorbell rang and gifts came. Let's go ahead on to Garments of Immortality in Samadhi Game, page 58. Again, we're dawning, while we work with the shadow, we want to don our garments of oneness, the garments that are never blighted by duality, never pulled apart into separateness, but held together by the oneness. It's really an interesting concept of oneness, that the more we're situated in oneness, the more that our identity is full in oneness, the greater the dimension of our awareness can be in duality. We can actually see clearly to great distances out in duality. And I believe that this is actually the mark of attainment. Those of us who have the ability, and I don't claim myself to be that, but those who do have the ability to create great art, or to do great healing, have this great ability to see and to express the refinements and the balances of induality. So it's really an interesting paradox that the more you're in oneness, the more you're in duality. The more you're in unfortunately, I don't think it goes the opposite way around. The more you're in duality, the more you're in oneness. So the more you can identify with yourself as one, then the greater your appreciation can be for the myriad differentiation of life as duality. Okay, so let's go and let's don the cloaks of immortality, the garments of immortality on page 58. O discriminating I am, Samadhi that I am, as I am in concert with the ascended Clairdelis, Lanello, Sir Lafalat, and Yogananda, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and Hans Baba, and others that are in just initials that are still people alive today that I am so grateful for in my own life. But I put them there so for everyone to see that they can do the same thing. I invoke the presence of Archangel Michael in faith, Elohim Hercules in purity, Sanatka El Moria and the goddess of light. I manifest the full gathered momentum of the new blue lightning of holy will, the cosmic circle and sword of Kali and Astrea, the diamond sword Excalibur, and the regalia of Archangel Michael, the lords of Karma, and the lords of the 9 planets, the Navagrahas, and legions of the elegant one and central sun. I go forth with almighty protection, divine intercession, and direction. I am the answer to these, my inner intentions and outer calls. O Christos, Krishna, Buddha, Allah, Divine Mother, Father, neutral witness, that I am. Adorn me with garments of immortality, the luster of reality. Be it my decree. This, the hour of the victory, manifesting as respect, the love light of wisdom and power, or its impostors of the fears and the desires of rebellion and cooperation. Jupiter's helmet and shield of faith, the winged sandals of Mercury, Saturn's sacred spear of transfiguration, Mars' flaming sword of discrimination, Venusian angels' benefaction, around me purposes purity, Sun's solar armor bright, reconciling lunar duality, I am impeccability tight. Intentions stream in banners, triumphs, trumpets play, forward mighty legions of light, into the karmic axis of Rahu, Ketu's fray. Engage the field of transmutation. Magnify I am reconciliation. Ere the dual human ego mastered. Victory's unity. Enlightenment ruling the day. I imagine that you would like to understand a little bit about what all these words and things are in this particular meditation. And maybe just a few words would be fitting. These names in yellow, again, are for you to fill in as you see fit. But these are names that I have come to know as very helpful in terms of protection and the cutting free of past karmas, past patterns, as well as the helping with the reconciliation of the dualities of past karmas. And the 9 planets, the Navagrahas. The 9 planets in ancient Vedic wisdom were revered as the archetypes of nine different patterns of personality, or archetypes of karmic picturing. And each one of them has its good side and its dark side. And by attuning to these patterns, and by learning about these patterns, we learn about our own patterns. So invoking these 9 planets, the Navagrahas, the lords of the 9 planets, we're asking for the assistance of their overarching presence. This great ability to see all of the archetypes within their domain, their gravitational pull, their graha, as they're called in Sanskrit. So, and then we name those, and the 2 most important planets, they're not planets at all, they're nodes where the sun and the moon's ellipticals cross each other. It's the places where eclipses, solar and lunar eclipses take place. These are called Rahu and Ketu, and they're rather important. If you know astrology, you can use your astrology to help to find where you are experiencing or expressing the greatest pull of duality. And Rahu and Ketu shows that. And I call it the headless ghost, the hungry ghost, the headless shadow, because the story about Rahu and Ketu is about this serpent being cut in 2, and one half of it having the head and the other half having the tail, and how each half has its own propensities. The one with the head, of course, is a hungry ghost that never is satiated, and the headless shadow is that which just doesn't know where it's going. So we can look at that in a chart, and if you're interested in a more precise understanding of Vedic astrology or of your particular Vedic astrological chart, you can contact Radhe at celestialgazing.com and ask her for some information on this. Just go to celestialgazing.com and check that out. Let's go to Sword of Blue Flame, Spear of White Fire. This is on page 60. And this is a meditation, a rhythmic meditation. Rhythmic, repetitive meditation, invoking the presence of your protecting deity. And that can be your own higher nature if you wish. And you can name it as such. Or you can name an aspect of divinity that you know to be helpful for protection. And here I have named the being Prince Michael Archangel. And so let's use his name and use this meditation, this rhythmic meditation, to draw forth his presence in our lives. Prince Michael, Archangel and Legions of Light, I am thee, and with thee we bristle with might. Blazing blue beam, I am cosmic fires, is every appearance of human desire. Bolts of lighting descend from above, shadow of our darkness, opposed to God's love. Sword of blue flame and spear of white fire, consciousness embrace higher and higher. Saint Michael, I conjure with all your volition from the beginning, and powers rendition. Blazing the being, nine cosmic fires, is every appearance of even desire. Most of our light in December above, shadow of our darkness of Bozagaza, sort of a fame and spirit, by fire, consciousness to raise higher and higher. Lord, my God, I conjure your heart to do whatever I did, hold it and go, but as you. Blazing the being, nine cosmic fires, is every appearance of even desire. Most of our light in December above, shadow of our darkness of Bozagaza, sort of a fame and spirit, by fire, consciousness to raise higher and higher. Prevents, my God, I conjure on legions of light, I am the in with the abyss with might. Blazing the being, nine cosmic fires, is every appearance of even desire. Most of our light in December above, abyss of the shadow of a pagan Gaza, sort of a fame and spirit, by fire, consciousness to raise higher and higher. Satan, my God, I conjure with all your volition from the beginning, and power and magician. Blazing the being, nine cosmic fires, is every appearance of even desire. Most of our light in December above, abyss of the shadow of a pagan Gaza, sort of a fame and spirit, by fire, consciousness to raise higher and higher. Lord, my God, I conjure your heart to do whatever I did, all and go, but as you. Blazing the being, nine cosmic fires, is every appearance of even desire. Bolt of a lighted December above, facing all shadow of pagan gods up, sort of a fame and spirit, but fire, concentration is higher but higher. Province, my God, again, and legions of light, I am the in with the abyss of what might. Blazing the being, I am coming fires, is every appearance of even desire. Bolt of a lighted December above, particular my light, kapara god up, sort of a fame and spirit, but fire, concentration is higher but higher. Satan, my God, again, with all your volition from the beginning and power of addition. Blazing the being, I am coming fires, is every appearance of even desire. Bolt of a lighted December